Know you got a hold of me like I never knew. Feeling that chemistry between me and you. Cause you've been on my mind all day and making moves all night. What you gonna do with me? Whatever you want to. Take five, coming hard to explore ya. The wrist and the chills to your veins. One touch and a look and it's over, just a taste. You know I wanna love ya. Yeah, I like it how you do. You ain't like no other. I can't get enough of you. Pull me closer, skin to skin. Make me feel alive. I wanna love ya. Yeah, I like it how you do. There's no one like you. There's no one like you. There's no one like you.
All right, everyone, welcome back. I know we had a bit of a break there, just ironed out a couple tech issues, but we are back and we're about to jump into our loser finals where we got Burnt Nuggets versus Aimers Red. As always, I'm your host, Waltz, joined again by Jerry and Rio. How you guys doing? You excited for our last two matches coming up?
Oh yeah, I can't wait. And you know what? Just kind of waiting and getting more and more excited for the matches. We had such a wild matchup between Aimers Red and Aimers Blue. I was on the edge of my seat. It went completely unexpected, and yeah, I just got me so hyped. And then we had tech issues, so now it's kind of like I'm just been so frustrated. And like, I need these more matches. I need these matches to continue.
Need
I
my
want
fix.
this. Yeah, exactly. I need the fun. Continue the fun. So that's exactly what we're about to do, guys. We're gonna get loaded into the fun. And who are these next matchup? Who are the two teams there, Jerry? Who will be playing next?
Well, we're looking at Burnt Nuggets, who have made their run through that lower bracket after being knocked down by Aimers Blue, and Aimers Red, who have also been knocked down by Aimers Blue. So, a couple of scalps that have been taken by the Blue Boys. And yeah, this is to fight your way through to the grand final for the second chance in Aimers, well, in both team status, to fight Aimers Blue. So, there is a real main character so far in this bracket. But right now, we turn our attention away from them. Aimers Red and Burnt Nuggets. We are expecting to see in our lobbies today Etelko, Ferios, and of course, Rabinski, who is subbing in for both of these lights, essentially. And then on the side of Burnt Nuggets, we've got Nagiri, Norton, and Palmer ready to just rack up as many kills as they can. Obviously, you look at the standings here and the comparison between the two teams, first seed and sixth seed. Burnt Nuggets really outdoing themselves here in the 3 versus 3s.
Yeah, they have really outdone themselves. They've made it further than any team kind of in their standing that I'm aware of has made it this far. So they're going against the first team, but this, Aimers Red really struggled against Aimers Blue. So this might be the Burnt Nuggets' chance to go against Aimers Blue. Who knows? We are going to find out, because I think that this is going to be closer than I think most people are expecting. That's kind of my prediction, because I think the Burnt Nuggets have quite a lot that they can do to really kind of turn this on Aimers Red's side, especially because I think Aimers Red might be a little bit kind of trying to figure out what went wrong in the last match. So it might be a little in their head, but we're going to get started out, and I hear it loading in. I don't know if we have the maps, what maps they picked, but we'll
find
see.
out.
Yeah, we're going to be loading in right away, because I heard it getting started here in just a second. But do you have any different prediction there, Jerry or Waltz, before we lose Waltz? I guess, Waltz, do you have any final thoughts on this matchup before we get started? Nope, we've already lost Waltz. That's okay.
That's
have, yeah. Yeah, do you disagree with me in any way on the Burnt Nuggets prediction, or what are you feeling?
I think there's something in it, because, of course, they've come really far today, and part of that may be in part, they finished in 6 in the groups. The last week that they had in the groups, they were playing with subs. This is the first time we've seen Norton, Palmer, Nagiri sharing the lobby in a good few weeks, and the difference is noticeable. They are a good trio. Nagiri back on his favoured medium class as well. He's had to be filling in a little bit, but we'll get the action started right away on Fortune Stadium. This is Aimers Red's pick. They've stopped picking Bernal. Thank Christ for that.
probably the smart option, and they're on my favorite map, so they're gonna be my favorite for this time being. But we're watching as Nigiri is getting some shots off with that revolver. Haven't seen that a ton, but it is cool to see. He demats his way through that wall, gets Perzone down, chasing them with that revolver, as I just mentioned, gets a nice little headshot on Telko, and demats his friend all the way down there as well. Gonna get Palma back up and get reset for this next fight. This is over the vault that hasn't even been tapped yet.
No, Nagiri will finally tap that, but we've got all three on the side of Aimers Red finally up, and they do find contact with Norton, who is given chase, but he does get away, the slippery light that he is. No, he doesn't. In fact, he is taken out there. Palmer finding two, though, on both Rubinski and Atelko. Palmer wiping! Wow. Outrageous. We didn't get to see that, but Palmer running the double deagles manages to get the team wipe on Aimers Red.
Yeah, what is this loadout? Double Deagles, 93R, and yeah, the DMAT following it. It's just
And
wild.
The revolver!
Yeah, and the revolver. It's a great loadout. It's working for him. So hey, if this is their strategy, I'd love to see it.
This is crazy.
Yeah, it's just wild, because I also haven't seen really the Deagles used a ton after their little nerf that they got the other day. But there is Rubinski getting some good shots off. You can see that they tried to deactivate this bounce pad. They missed just a little bit, so they are still going to be able to use that, but they're going to go up the zip line and try and spot anybody out. Cash out has been started. It is down already about a fourth of the way, and there is a revolver versus the little semi-automatic pistol. Wild
What
to
a
see.
flyby. That was just an incredible flyby by Nagiri there. Palmer taken out by Perzon, as we've got, again, the double deagles coming out. Everyone with these crazy loadouts, because they know that they're through. And they just want to prove that they're the better team now. I mean, still playing for, you know, best in EU, the clout. Surely that's worth something. Nope, these guys are like, yeah, we're going to have fun with it. I'm here for it, honestly.
Yep, this is fun. You can tell that they're trying something different. Maybe they've practiced like this, but both teams running quite a wild loadout is very interesting. Looking at the kills real quick, it looks like the Burnt Nuggets are a little bit ahead in kills, but now the setup is happened and we see them ready for this push. This is a really hard place to push, mainly because all of the damage that you can take on the advance. One of the Burnt Nuggets made it over, but the other two are still kind of staying back. Cash Out is down to its last fourth as it's slowly ticking down, and they might be able to make one last push on this, but everybody is very split up. Telko running all the way down there, dematting his way through the floor, grouping up with his teammates, but they're right below the Cash Out and they're going to drop it. They tried to ride it down, but they were unsuccessful, and the gas popped off on it as well. The Aimers Red will go down, but I'm not sure if the Burnt Nuggets have enough time to get this Cash Out. I think they have just enough, and they are going to get it, and it's a good steal for them.
I can't believe I put my live tweet out before this game. Like, we just had one of the most intense competitive series between Aimers Red and Aimers Blue, and this is the game we get. All right, I'm fine. I'm not molding at all, Rio. You did not see this reaction happen.
No.
But yeah, it's exciting. It's fun, and to be fair, like, this is still an even playing field, right? They're all running identical loadouts, so. In some ways, is this fairer? I don't know. Seeing a Telko stray away from his beloved ARs is very strange. Very, very strange. Nagiro finds first blood. Nagiro? Okay, we're finding a million different ways to mispronounce this guy's name.
It really is.
I don't know. I usually nail it. Something in the air today. So, yeah, he finds first blood, and that allows Norton to just bail and head all the way up to the Cash Out. I love seeing that tech every time. It's because I can't do it, but I love seeing the stairway tech. It's nice.
I can do it successfully about 70% of the time, and then the other 30% is when my teammates are watching me and I just fumble like a bumbling toddler. But that's okay, because I enjoy it nonetheless. Here is the approach. Both teams are pretty split up. They need to find a different path, because heading straight on is pretty likely to result in death. This is the Burnt Nuggets in control of the Cash Out, so Aimers Red are really up against it in this push. They need to make something something happen, but it looks like the Burnt Nuggets have decided to take the push directly to them. Rubinski very low, down to 5 HP, having to go through his gateway, find a loop around, but there is Nagiri getting shot from behind. It is going to be just enough time for him to get rezzed back up into health, and he is now healthy. There is a nice little smoke cloud going on, but Palma gets met with that 93R to the face and just gets deleted. And now Rubinski on 34 HP, trying to stay a little bit passive, going invis to push forward, brings Nagiri down, and he is still dipping and diving as the last person from the Burnt Nuggets tries to go up against him, and that was all 3 of them just going down. They will be able to get this cash and get in control.
Now we always take a little bit of a gamble when we're choosing who to watch before a fight. Hats off, Burrito chose the right guy. That was
right.
That was 100% Rubinski's story to tell. And yeah, I'm glad we got to watch it. Wow, it's some insane ducking and diving. The fake backstab just to make someone look away so that you can jump across, getting winched in and winning the fight, and then winning in the 2v or the 1v2 kind of like scenario at the end. It's so tasty. I love to see it with the 93R as well. It's peak content. And Amos Red, thanks to that win earlier, they've managed to stave Burnt Nuggets off for a little bit longer. Second cash out goes their way. We go to the third cash out, and Burnt Nuggets are finding a good position. They having already lost Norton in a 2 versus 3 now. Telco takes him out, or took him out. Palmer finds a response though onto a Telco. 2 versus 2. Person finally lands that finishing haymaker, and the trade is back there. 1 versus 1 now between Rubinski and Palmer, but Palmer with the double deagles finishes the things off how he started this map. But what is he typing? I thought he was typing there. It looked like he wasn't rezzing. Okay.
Wild. Yeah, this is quite an interesting clash. Even the kills are pretty even. I mean, it looks like Amos Red are down maybe 1 or 2 on the other side of it, but this is relatively close. I mean, we are down to 2 cash outs, or yeah, the last cash out for Will Take It in this one, but this is a pretty entertaining match. Just the loadouts themselves are wild, and I do like how everybody's kind of playing around these new healing barrels. They're kind of being deemed the blueberries, which I think is a very fitting name for them. It's kind of cool because you see them being popped, and then everybody kind of tries to fight in that area. So, a new interesting mechanic that's been introduced relatively recently in here. But here is the push. They demat down, and they're ready to go for this steal if they can. They're kind of ice fishing now, trying to look for anybody that they can, but haven't spotted anybody just yet because they're right behind this wall. Now dipping and diving out of this stairwell. There are 2 dome shields going off, but a Telco has wrapped around them, but he's somehow the last person left on his team, and he goes down. Ooh, and a little bit of griefing going on there.
I would have loved to have seen that fight from Norton's perspective, because he was holding an off angle for quite a while down at the bottom, and as soon as that engage happened, he was able to jump freely up from the middle of that building and pile just a ton of damage into the back of Amos Red there. Nagiri and Palmer obviously standing tall and holding their own to allow that to happen. Deserve some cred, but yeah, Norton was the unseen real hero of that fight, I think.
Yeah, it really was, and just kind of wild to see them wrapping around, but there will be one last push. Can Amos Red get it and get in control of this map? Rubinski going around to the right, maybe trying to loop around and find them off guard, but it seems like Norton is sitting there ready to spot them out. Somehow that battle did not go his way because he's down to 7 HP, has to pull off as far as he can, but the lights regen health relatively quick, so he is there, and Palma getting some kills with the double deagles, gets one across the map and is looking for the next one. There is a gateway going off that allows Norton to dip out of there as soon as he was in any danger. Cash out is ticking down. We are running out of time. Amos Red really needs to get on the point, but they seem very isolated. There goes Atelco. It's all going to go down to the last member. Can Rubinski stay alive? And he cannot. So it will be a guaranteed win going towards the Burnt Nuggets. Emotes and everything. And there you have it, everybody. This is turning out wild. Burnt Nuggets are here to fight.
Yeah, the checkered flag waved there by Palmer, and you understand it, because that was a real strong finish from Burnt Nuggets. The positional play at the end there was just second to none. They were so good at having that angle on the point, sitting Palmer down on top of it as well, and just saying, you know, if you want to come for that last second steal, you've got a sledgehammer to force your way through. Aimers Red, though, this is now the third time that we've seen them lose their map pick. That is
Ooh.
unbelievable, quite honestly, for a team
Oh.
that are first placed in the league. And now they're
Yeah.
coming up against the 6th seed in Burnt Nuggets, and they got their asses handed to them. I've got to say, that was not close at the end.
Yeah, it really wasn't. It was very kind of one-sided and unexpected, as you mentioned, because our number 1 seed should be the dominating force here. But I've mentioned at the start of the stream that like this is a change up in game mode. This is something that we've just switched up after doing what, like nearly 2 months of another mode and in
Yeah.
so many different fashion. So it's it's wild. It's fun to see. The Burnt Nuggets are just turning this whole script on its head, and it's quite fun. So I am enjoying it, and I don't know if you saw that, Jerry, but the next map is actually on not Monaco, Bernal, which they haven't done too well on so far. So maybe
Yeah.
this is might be where Burnt Nuggets are able to put the final coffin in the story of Aimers Red. I don't know. What's your prediction?
This almost feels like a counter pick from Burnt
Yeah.
Nuggets. You know, obviously the way the picks and bans flow, Aimers Red didn't ban Bernal at any point, right? They're happy to go there, even if it's a map that they felt, you know, well, statistically they haven't done well on today. It's been their pick going into today for a reason. Obviously, it's their favorite, so they want to get it through. And the way things are going, yeah, you could see Burnt Nuggets 2-0ing here. Like, Aimers Red are the ones that now have to flip the script themselves, right?
Yeah.
This is the roughest we've seen them look in a long, long time. And I'm just surprised that it's Burnt Nuggets that are the team that are doing this to them. With the caveat being that, obviously, we've got these weird loadouts going on. And
Yeah.
across the season, I feel as though I've seen Palmer, Nagiri, Norton, particularly Palmer, on some of these more off-meta picks. Not the Deagles, but he has been running Sledge. He's been running SA12 occasionally. It's not off-meta, but it's off to the side of the meta, which is typically the sort of minigun. Now we've got a rotation, and let's see what weapons they're running now. We've got a Lewis gun in Palmer's hands. Maybe we can see what the other players on Burnt Nuggets are running, the light and the medium. Maybe we'll get a glimpse of them. We've got the FCAR. Okay, that's not unusual. And then the light running EXP. Okay, we're back to sort of regularly scheduled programming here.
Yeah, I wonder why Fortune was the one that they decided to go with the weird loadouts, but hey, I'll take it because we're here on Bernal, which is a very different map, so it's kind of cool to see everybody go back to the traditional loadouts of the finals. Norton trying to spot somebody out with this XP, gets a little bit of chip-off damage, but not enough. There goes the vault across the map. I'm not sure if that was a gateway. It has to have been because it has just moved, or they just bopped it. They bopped it really close over to A. And Norton is just kind of trying to figure out what just happened there as well. Glitch grenade in his hand going off on top of the Aimers Red. Nobody really been spotted out just yet, but there he goes. Nigiri able to bring down Rubinski, looking for their heavy, going for a res as well. Gets Palma back up, but dives right into it with everybody in there, and it is just chaos inside of this building. Palma now locked in with the lock bolt against a minigun that is revving up, but they are able to get a wipe on Aimers Red. So the Burnt Nuggets are able to hold on so far.
Great job there by Nagiri to get that res rather. And yeah, it made all the difference. We can see now, of course, Norton moving that box over to A, and they get it plugged quite quickly. So yeah, Burnt Nuggets with a fairly strong start there. Not much else to say. It's weird to not have crazy weapons to laugh at again. I feel I feel like there's less to talk about.
But that is okay, because we want to see how these two teams go at it normally, and this cash out has already been started. The minigun in hand by Perzone. He throws off that goo, trying to create a little bit of a wall, but does successfully kind of do it. But there are the Burnt Nuggets diving in from above. They bounce padded over, dematted through that wall, and are looking for any opening they can. Nagiri jumping in and out of the fight and looking for somebody from above. This is a good move because his team has followed with him. They are resetting and letting this clock just run out.
Oh, but maybe they're letting it run a little bit too dry here as the steal looks like it will be successful there from a Telco just behind the cover of that goo. So the box has flipped here for Aimers Red. Everyone's still alive. Rubinski looking much worse for wear here. He doesn't really know how to escape this damage, but he does just about. Person having healed up now. Rubinski can stay out of the fight for a little bit, but that's Burnt Nuggets' opportunity to try and engage themselves. Person has been taken down here by Palmer, the heavy winning that fight. Trades back and forth, and now it looks like a 1 versus 1 between the two lights, if I'm not mistaken here. Rubinski running very far here to try and save himself, but the steal is being attempted by Norton. He's hiding behind that goo, but there is an angle, and Rubinski finds it, threads the needle, and lands the shots right in the face of Norton.
Yeah, that was insane. He was just dealing some hellfire with that XP, getting the shots off, and I don't know why they decided to go for the steal there, honestly. I would have gone for the team res. You had enough time. The cash out is still even ticking out now, so maybe a misplay, maybe there's something I didn't see. We'll have to wait to hear it from Waltz. Maybe he saw something a little bit different at the end of this wrap-up. But yeah, weird play, but this will go the way of Aimers Red, who really need this. They need to hold on if they want to take this victory. There goes the DMAT to bring his team with him, and the Burnt Nuggets are now adjusting their push, trying to go towards this vault, but it seems like Aimers Red are really in control so far.
Yeah, that was a very strong performance there from Rubinski, particularly to hold on. We'll see who the other heroes will be in this matchup, because this game is just all about heroes. You know, you get opportunities to shine, and that was Rubinski's. So we'll see who's next on that podium. Rubinski, unfortunately, pulled down from it with a crash as he's taken out early in this fight. Rubinski did find a kill, though, in the other direction, and now the fight really gets swinging as we see Norton going deep, Telko rather going deep, and Nagiri takes him out. The full wipe there. There's everyone left standing almost on the side of Burnt Nuggets. That was a much quicker one than I anticipated, and now Nagiri can get moving over to B once again for a plug, but we've seen it go the other way after their plugs before so far.
Yeah, this is their opportunity to show us what their defense is like. Can they set up? Do they have a good strategy in this building? You know, it is very dependent on where the cash outs are. This spot is a unique spot. You can drop it once, and there are a lot of buildings that you can play around it. But here it goes. The fighting is just ready, and they are wanting to get started. Lockbolt goes off, but not locking onto anybody. Dematting down in between the roof. They're trying to spot somebody out, but the Aimers Red are just not finding anybody yet. They decide to go for it. There is the gas going off right inside that bubble. That is going to be lethal as it forces Prezone to push out of it and stop the steal. He is now chasing with the minigun, but going on that bounce pad serves lethal to him. Telko now running through the buildings, running out of DMATs as well, trying to get his teammate back up, and he does get him back up, but immediately gets spotted out in between a lot of people going down in that fight. It seems like everybody is very low in this battle. Nagiri very low on 13 HP, staying alive in this somehow, buying time, keeping the cash out in their control. He spots out Rubinski, and there is a wipe. Wild play, and I think that the Burnt Nuggets are going to hold control of this, and they might have one more push from Aimers Red.
Yeah, it's going to be a quick dive from Aimers Red to do anything here. This was a tough one to keep track of. There's that final kill. Just to see it again, the snap to the light with only 1 HP. Some really good shots hit throughout the course of that fight, though, and yeah, it was really back and forth. So Burnt Nuggets now, like we said, they only have to hold on to this a little bit longer. Oh, that's a very nice thing to find nearby. A whole stash full of gas canisters that they can unload onto the point. The question is right now, where are Aimers Red? Turn around. They've got to be here somewhere. We're missing it. What's going on? Something's happening. They're fighting. Oh, there's our health bars. They just disappeared off the screen. Weird bug, but now we're back in it. Rubinski, last alive for Aimers Red. Looks like he's missed the opportunity here to find anything meaningful. The steal will not be successful as the time has elapsed. He's just playing for kills here. Nagiri even takes him out. There we have it. We're going to go all the way to the third cash out here for Aimers Red and Burnt Nuggets on Banal. And of course, Burnt Nuggets already up by that one map. If they get this cash out, then they've booked themselves a spot in the grand final up against Aimers Blue.
Yeah, it is getting tense in here, and I'm wondering if we can see the scoreboard as they get ready on this next vault. Look at this. Nigiri with 8 kills, Palma with 5. Rabinski on the other side of it was 6, but that's really the only person that's standing out. Burnt Nuggets are just playing on top of their game today. It has been insane to watch as Nigiri immediately spots somebody out from the Aimers Red. They decide to chuck that vault across the map. They don't even want to go for it. They want to ensure that nobody is fighting over the vault and that this next fight will determine where it goes. I take that back because there was some master plan that I missed because they got this vault plugged, and it's going to force the Aimers Red to come in and swarm on them. But in turn, it's going to force the Burnt Nuggets to be right behind them. Maybe not, because Perzone getting them caught out immediately, raining down the minigun on them. Everybody is converging on top of this building. This is wild, Jerry. I don't know what to say.
Person was flip-flopping there. He was like, I don't know who to take. He's just sort of screaming in his comms. And thankfully, during that chaos, Amos Red have managed to find an opening to get that steal, get the box flipped in their favor. And now this is a great position for the minigun. Holy, look at this angle. And of course, he's got the lockbot as well. Can keep Palmer in place and just unload into that dome. There's a cross angle as well, but he's brought down by the RPG. His teammates both low HP. He needs to be careful and use his health to his maximum potential here. Dropping down now. They've got that dome shield to play around with. They're going to be kiting away from the point. We're about halfway elapsed on the timer, so a wipe any later than right now will maybe cause it to be the final fight of the map. Rabinski sending up that glitch, and it will do a lot of hits. It will really cause a lot of problems. He can't find the finishing blow on either. Finds one, finds two. That is the wipe against Burnt Nuggets. Rabinski, the hero right now. He was earlier as well.
Okay, that is some insane XP gameplay. And yeah, we're going to get an immediate replay of that. He tried. He got them both down so low, but just unable to chase them until right then, and then gets one, gets two, and just turns the entire tide of the battle.
We gotta see Burnt Nuggets right now. There's surely time.
There's a sliver of time. There's a sliver of chance, but it is highly unlikely unless they dive right on it. They're pushing into the gunfire by Aimers Red. A dome shield goes down, forces them off the push. No time left. They pop a blueberry. Enjoy the savory flavor as they know that we will go into map number 3. And what a map this has been. This is a great matchup. I can't believe that we're going to see a third map.
And it will be Skyway as well, the decider. So, Etelko with only one kill that game, but it did not matter. Rabinski and Person pulling out all the stops. Rabinski in particular with some heroic gameplay, as mentioned a few times already. I'm not going to get sick of that word. It really felt like he was the hero there for his team. And they finally win on Bernal. It's happened. Yeah. On the third time of asking, Aimers Red managed to push it through. And it could be crucial as well, because, of course, they're fighting for a spot in that grand final right now. And, of course, that does get you, if you manage to finish top 2, that first round bye in the championship playoffs next weekend.
Yeah, and hey, we are finally seeing a third map, and we're bringing in Waltz. I guess he's here to chat with us. News to him, apparently. But how are you, Waltz? We are happy to have you on there. Did you see that last matchup? Because that was intense.
I did. I was surprised. I was on because I was actually just breaking down that first cash out fight that we saw, where Aimers coming in and getting a nice steal on that cash out, and then at the last minute, Robinski pulling off a 1 versus 2. A lot of really interesting stuff on that one. I think I would love to break down with you guys because. Yeah, obviously map 1, a little bit of an anomaly. People not on their normal things. You still saw some incredible gameplay from these teams. You can still understand why they're at the top of their game. But once we got into kind of a normal match, a lot of sort of these standard strategic moves actually came in place. Because that first match, yeah, you're going to see some of the same stuff, but you're not going to play the same with Revolver. You're not playing with R93R. I mean, obviously, Rabinski did kind of pop off with that one team wipe, so it's pretty cool. But no, this past match was really interesting. We saw some really great movements from Aimers, and Burnt Nuggets were just kind of, they're setting up too far away from these points. They're letting the steals happen, And they're doing that partially because they're either too far away or they're not putting the cash out where it needs to be. So they need to update that if they're going to have a success in map 3.
Okay, I think that's a great overview of it. Do you have a prediction for us, Waltz? Who is going to take
Ooh.
it in map number 3?
I think Aimers have the momentum right now. I think Burnt
Okay.
Nuggets need to put their feet on the drum. I'm going to say Aimers.
Okay, that is the prediction, and we were going to get loaded in just a second and find out. I guess we'll continue to go around the map. Jerry, what's your prediction? Who's going to
It's
take it?
it's a difficult call, isn't it? Because this is a very different map to Fortune. It's maybe got a little bit more in common with Bernal. You know, a lot
Okay.
of tight corners that you can play, but also lots of long angles. It's a very evenly balanced map, Skyway, especially in its standard variation, which is where we are headed right now. And the loadouts seem to have settled somewhat. You know, we've gone from, what was it, Deagles to Lewis guns, which have seen, you know, some play during the season, to well,
Oh.
we had Perzon on a minigun last game. I'm curious about what Palmer is running. We will get a glimpse of that fairly soon. Of course, him getting into action right now is Rubinski firing shots across the highway right there. Almost taking down Norton, but he's pretty worse for wear himself. He has to land the shots. He finally does there. Palmer back on the double deagles, it would seem. You know, it worked for them. They won the first map. And now only Rubinski left up for his team. Does manage to fish out Palmer, though. That was very cheeky from the Aimers red light. And he will manage to get this res, potentially. Oh, Nigiri's closing him down. Does he know how close he is to getting the kill? No. He finds Rubinski, but the res did go through successfully. And that is the heavy dropping on down. Perzon now up alone. And will he survive the incumbent Burnt Nuggets? They are all around him. It's still a 3 versus 1. Palmer finally puts it to rest. That felt like just a delaying of the inevitable there.
Yeah, that's an interesting play when you decide to res right on top of an enemy team, because the stagger potential is huge, and that's exactly what happened there. But Rubinski, amazing kill there, and then sneaks up and gets a second one on Palma. That was wild. Good play, but unfortunately, probably not the best team play in my opinion. I think that he should have probably gone down in that fight. They would have had a nice reset, and this all would have been playing out a little bit differently. But hey, I'm not a pro player. I am very far away from that. But we are here to watch some of the top players play. So here they go, getting into it. RPG going off, but unable to connect with anybody. Nagiri in top of this building in a really good vantage point. They throw down a little glitch barrel, but didn't connect with anybody either. Pushing into this building, they try and go and get lock bolted as they go in. Can't move away from it. Decide to not break it and just go for the fight. They are still stuck running around, but there is a trade back and forth. Camera is now looking at the cinnamon bread, but that's okay because Norton goes down in that fight, and there is a team wipe on the Burnt Nuggets. Aimers Red do have some momentum going for them right now.
There's one apiece now for this first set of fights, and the steal will be successful. Aimers Red now have basically one fight here to defend the cash out successfully and put themselves up in this final map. I did have a moment of when I saw Palmer just dive straight in there with the Deagles ahead of the rest of his team. I'm not one to question the number one ranked EU heavy, to be fair. He wants to bring out Deagles in a match of this importance. Be my guest. He's already proved he can do it once. Let's see if he can do it again. But so far, right now, yep, they're evenly matched.
Yeah.
Telco beams his opposition, but is in turn beamed out of the air. Rubinski and Perzon, though, with the follow-up, and such a quick wipe coming through for Aimers Red. That engage just did not work out for Burnt Nuggets, and that'll be a successful first catch out. Wow, what a quick fight.
Yeah, you can tell when a team is like fired up because they tend to make moves that are like that. They just turn their aggression up because they feel confident. They feel it in their heart that like, no, we're going to win this. We're going to take this. And unfortunately, sometimes that can lead to overconfidence in situations like maybe what we just saw. I don't know, because there was still plenty of time for them to dive on that and play that a little more strategically. But hey, both teams know what they're here for, know what they're battling to get, and it has been intense so far. We are going to start this next vault as the teams try and fight each other out from a little bit of distance. The vault is in more of the Burnt Nuggets side, but they don't want to tap it just yet. Things are slowing down a little bit as everybody figures out their next strategy.
And if you're watching from sort of the NA perspective right now, you may be puzzled to see so many invis lights. That is sort of the meta over here. It's a much more patient, much more considered approach, and that's why we are surprised when we see dives like that. It really doesn't favor the invis lights to be going in like that. You know, you want to be able to have maybe a dash or something in that situation, which is obviously the NA side of the meta at the moment. Etelko taking a lot of damage as he's trying to hold a position up above without the rest of his team, and can't quite find any angles onto his opposition. Rubinski as well taking some flack, but they are currently just guarding. The vault hasn't even been tapped yet by Burnt Nuggets. This is about as ego fight as an ego fight gets, Rio.
Yeah, they are just feeling each other out. I don't know how else to phrase it other than they are just kind of waiting for somebody to make a mistake. And the second that we see somebody go down, they will just really, take advantage of that. So that's just kind of what we're waiting. This does tend to happen from time to time. Things are just slowing down. It reminds me kind of like of the Halo days where nobody wanted to push, and it just kind of, just slowing things down. And I don't know what else we say. And now we get an emote from Rubinski. They recognize what's going on here. They know that we needed a little bit of entertainment. So thank you for that.
Thank you. And I'm glad that we were spectating him at that second.
Yeah, right?
What are the odds? This is bizarre. I have not seen a standoff like this ever. Literally a Mexican standoff, cracking out the acoustic guitar, just serenading us. And oh my goodness, what is that camera angle? Please, nice little headshot. So Rio, read any good books lately?
No, not really. I tend to read and then immediately fall asleep. So yeah, not really. But what about yourself?
So anything you recommend is a snoozer.
Yeah,
can we get some some comms in chat? Is there an AFK timer? Can we get an AFK timer in Pro League, please?
Let's do this. Chat, what is your controversial opinion about the finals? Is it this? Is it that things can slow down to a crawl? And
I think what we need is our observer Burrito to have the power to spawn in like random red barrels and shit. Like just like allow our observer to just cause chaos within the maps. Where's alien invasion?
No, that's exactly what I was
up a bit.
thinking. Yeah, it just like sorry guys, like we're just gonna turn on
I can wait 13
gravity,
minutes.
low gravity.
Person, no.
I'm gonna message
Don't
these
do this to
people
us.
after.
Yeah, I'm gonna get in their DMs right now. Hold up. Where is it? Burnt Nuggets. Can we? Okay, Rio and Burrito.
Yeah.
Can we all jump into the Amos call right now?
Oh, this is great.
This is good. I think this is less good than going and talking to them. So yeah, I'm gonna jump into
the
the
vault's
Amos
been
call
tapped.
right now.
The vault's been
Oh, they
tapped.
tapped it! Hey, nice. All right, fair enough. And I've just noticed that the voice calls are no, they're not locked. I could actually have done that. Why? Wait, hang on. Oh, Amos Blue's voice call is locked. I could have jumped in. No, Amos. Wait, what? My brain isn't working anymore. For some reason, I can't jump into one of their call. I could jump into Burnt Nuggets call. They've tapped the vault, but not much else has changed. Is it on the move yet? Can we get a look at the vault? Oh, here we go. Hang on. They're actually engaging. Guys, wake up. We've got a fight, Rio.
All right, everybody. After a long delay, everybody was waiting for Santa to deliver their presents, and I guess he was a little bit delayed. Sometimes Amazon elves can be like that. And I don't even know what I'm saying because my brain has been destroyed during that long wait after building it up to something. But there is the gameplay finally popping off as we watch one kill from Rubinski and his second one, but he gets winch clawed and pulled out immediately and just dies in that fight. Palma dropping into that elevator shaft, gets dematted from the side and is now trying to fight for his life. And we finally have a team wipe. Ambers Red take the win of this fight. I hope they take control of the vault. And Jerry, I hope that we never see a moment like that again in the finals.
Never again. We need penalties. The tonal shift of going from like 3 minutes of sweet FA to a really quick team fight, I was stun locked right here. I sat in my chair, just hands in the air, going, I'm not gonna bother. Rio, take the wheel. Like, thank you for casting that. We finally have our second cash out. It is in construction. You rarely see teams take it here, to be honest. It's such a strange site. It's very difficult to attack. We've seen a lot of the time in our cash out games. This map, this cash out
Norton's on the crane.
Okay, yeah. I'm not even going to finish my point because we're seeing crane movement. You never see crane movement in Pro League. Norton is the operator.
Yeah, and to back your point up, a lot of times that people don't come here, it is because of the cranes. It gives you such a high vantage point, and they try to drop them almost immediately. But these are weird teams, as we've pointed out, in multi-varies and multi-fashions. But Norton is now staying on top of this, trying to spot out one of the aimers red. He's now bouncing on that bounce pad, getting a good vantage point, and has kind of traded places with them. And now the aimers red are on top of this crane. That's exactly what I was pointing out. These cranes are lethal, and Norton decides to go for the reset.
Yeah, Amos Red really flipped that very nicely, taking, the high ground, finding 2 kills. And so that leaves Burnt Nuggets with one chance right here. They have to play a perfect game from here on out. They've got to win this next fight, get the steal, and then find the cash out. I love this camera angle, by the way. Just ascending from the deep. And we have the timer in the sky as well, which is really nice. But like I said, Burnt Nuggets, one more chance.
One more chance indeed. Can they do it? If you're a Burnt Nuggets fan, root them along. Chat, I want to see what you think of them. They are pushing head on into this. This is a uphill battle for them. They need to get on it relatively quickly. There is the gateway, but Nigiri misses the jump, and they get stopped by this little, bridge thing, and they can't afford to lose any more time. But there is the gas popping it off. It is dropped all the way down. They need to get on it right now. I don't think that they're going to have enough time, as the aimers red have taken this in one of the weirdest matches I've ever seen in my year plus of doing the finals. But aimers red, you did it. You took it. You ended it. You ended our misery. So thank you for that. I'm sure. I can't wait to hear what Walt has to say. That's all I'm going to say.
I can't wait to we need to do interviews. Oh my god, it's popping off in chat right now. I want more of it. I love the heat that's being thrown into both directions. Palmer, he's often positioned himself as the bad guy in this league. And if you can't dish out what you if you can't take what you dish out, then it's coming at you. And showing up with Deagles in a match like this and then losing, that's a little embarrassing, I've got to say.
Embarrassing. Yeah, it's definitely not the choice that I would have done. But hey, here is Waltz, and like I said, I'm begging to know what you thought of what we just saw.
Oh yeah, no, I've prepared a great 5-minute breakdown of that standoff with lines and angles. It's basically just me drawing lines and ranting. No, we're not gonna. That was an absolute disaster. No idea what was going on there. I mean, obviously, I think that Burnt Nuggets were kind of just they already secured their spot. There's no chance of them taking top 2 at this point. Aimers, even before they won this, were guaranteed top 1 and 2 aimers red and blue, so they're in the position. At this point, they were just playing for seeding. So I would have liked to see Nuggets take this a little bit more seriously, but it happens. You're in kind of, this is the thing you have with playoffs, right? This match didn't really matter that much. We can be completely honest with ourselves, right? The matches that matter, that really, really matter, are next weekend when we get to the championship. This one is all for the ego. You want to be the best team in EU, and maybe Nuggets didn't think they were in this case. I don't know.
That's the thing. I don't understand what sort of competitive player you have to be to see the possible title of best in EU and decide to do that. It's a weird choice. I got to be honest. But, we have both the aimers teams forcing their way to the grand final, and it is for clout, and it means a lot, right? These teams, they have such a storied history, and a best of 5 up against each other, no variance, no cash out shenanigans, no third partying, no griefing, anything. It is just who is the best team. That is what the next match is all about, and I can't wait for it.
It's going to be beautiful. Now, I know we're getting map bands set up for our next map. We're going to move into our grand final, which is a best of 5. But I do have a bit of a breakdown for you guys of one of the fights in game 2, which I think was probably the best game we were going to get. Map 1 was kind of a weird. Map 3 was a bit of a wash, but map 2 had some neat fights. And there's actually that first cash out is actually quite an interesting one. So let me make sure I get this set up for you here. And I forgot
Yeah,
that I
just
need to start my stream.
take care up there because you are, teetering on the edge
I'm
of the
pretty
pagoda in
high.
Kyoto. Yeah, it must be windy as well. I'm surprised you can hear us from up
But the
there.
view
I'm
must be
yelling a
great.
lot. It is beautiful. It smells great. You know, the peach blossoms have this lovely
Mm.
smell across the wafting across the breeze. So it's nice up here. But I think I might try a new locale soon. You know, it's been getting a bit
Ah,
stale. I feel like I haven't been flying a little bit. So definitely gonna try something new. Well, here's our match, right? So this was cash out 1 on map number 2. And you know, as we kind of set up this fight, let's take a look where everyone is positioning right now. This is kind of the key initial start. We have our players here, and you can see up on the top right, we have Burnt Nuggets positioning in 2 different buildings. So they have the commanding high ground. Meanwhile, the entirety of Aimers is on the low ground. So this is obviously a position that Burnt Nuggets want to be. You almost always want the high ground. But as you're going to see here, and the direction they're going to choose to go is they're going to be moving this direction for a very specific reason,
Mm.
because there's still a wall in the way. And this is why high ground only matters if it's the right high ground, okay? So let's take a look at how this develops. These teams are going to move across. Telko is going to sit in. He's going to start this steal. And now you can see what's happening here. Again, 3 different high grounds, but only one of them matters. The only player who can actually have a sight line to hit a Telko is over here. It's Norton. The other 2 players basically are out of the match. They're shooting into a wall. That's completely useless. Their high ground means literally nothing right now. And so what's going to happen is the steal is just going to go off. No one is going to die. Person takes some damage. And now all of a sudden it's completely flipped. At this point, they now have to run. They're completely separated. And now everything is in control. It's now on the defense of Aimers. Aimers have the ability to command this fight. This is their chance to retake things. Now, this still could have turned around. Again, we're going to see the importance of high ground and why it does matter. A bit of dueling by the lights, but nobody goes down yet. And in just a moment, this is the key part of this fight. This is where things turn around. Rabinski, as we can see down here, so the key point here, you can see all of Burnt Nuggets have high ground. All 3 players are above the medium and the heavy of Aimers. They have caught them exactly where you want them. This is a dream scenario. But what happens, and let's keep a very close eye on this, you're going to see them give up their advantage. So they're doing some damage. They're shooting in. Rabinski is out of the fight. Already, 1 drops down. Palma's on the ground. He wants to go mano-a-mano. He wants to go into his face, even though he has a ranged weapon. Etelko jumps up, gets out of the high ground. Etelko jumps out. Norton and the other medium, all 3 players drop to the low ground after Persian dies. So all 3 players are now on the low ground, and Etelko has the high ground. You know, we've all seen Star Wars. We know how this ends. This is not good for Burnt Nuggets. And this high ground matters because there's no blocking. And you can see on the background, this is important. Rabinski, the entire time he's been reviving, his health is now back up, and he is on even higher ground now. So they're jumping up, and Palma tries to run in, but he gets melted. The second one gets melted. And because Norton can't quite finish off Rabinski, he's not going to be able to do anything. And now the final decision is made. Norton has 2 teammates that he can revive, and he has time to do it. But instead, he is going to do this and head this way. And at this point, you saw how this went out. You saw how this shaked out. Rabinski is going to turn around. He's in time to finish off Norton. The fight doesn't go his way. He gets that kill, and that's curtains. But it all came down because Aimers understood how to play the high ground, and Burnt Nuggets just did not quite play it correctly.
that was so close, though. I don't think we saw
Yeah.
how close the steal was in real time because we were watching from Rabinski's perspective. And yeah, maybe he expected that goo to be more sufficient cover in the heat of the moment, but it wasn't. And yeah, Rabinski having that angle
Yeah.
made all the difference. It's such a good breakdown there, Wolves. Thank you very much. And
Yeah.
yeah, I think that it was a really intense fight, and we got to see it from the first person. But having you as that overhead, giving us the lowdown on exactly what was going bit by bit, is really, really valuable. So yeah, shout out Waltz. Just a nice round of applause to him from me and from chat. Rio,
Yeah.
we have the grand final around the corner, and maybe we should talk through the bracket just before we get there.
I think that would be a great idea just to see how these teams, how far they've come, and how we ended up where we are. If we kind of look at the overall start of the day, we can see that the Aimers Red and Aimers Blue started in the top of the bracket, and they have kind of wormed their way through it with the Aimers Red basically being on top until that upper final. So they were doing great, and then the Aimers Blue came in it, and then we ended up in the matches that we just saw there. That needs to update just here in a sec, but it will be again Aimers Blue versus Aimers Red. So it's going to be a wild matchup. But yeah, is there anybody in the bottom bracket that you kind of want to bring up that we didn't talk about?
I suppose
Waltz,
it's worth
right? Yeah.
mentioning the fact that,
Yeah.
Nuggets got quite as far as they did. Because as much
Yeah.
as I feel like we didn't get a fair representation of what they've managed today. I was really ragging on them after that match, maybe a little bit upset. I wanted to see a bit more fight in them,
Right.
or maybe a bit more respect from them, perhaps. But the fact that they managed to fight their way all the way from, like getting knocked down by Amos Red. They beat so many teams on the way here. They managed to beat Gungala. They managed to beat where are they? Saints 1. They beat Gamblers as well. So
Yeah.
really putting themselves up there as a team to beat when it comes to those championship playoffs next weekend in 3 versus 3s. They are clearly a much bigger force to be reckoned with than they were in Cash Out.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Definitely.
Seen a
Go
lot of
ahead,
teams
Waltz.
that really have overperformed in this version. Like you said, Nuggets especially are a team that did really, really well. We didn't see a lot of shakeup in the overall points themselves. Our top 6 is now confirmed for the EU region, and Aimers are going to be 1 and 2. They were 1 and 2 in Cash Out. They're now 1 and 2 in the playoffs. Nothing's changing there, so they do get that first round bye. But you're right; it's neat to see how there is development. I think when we get to NA, there's going to be some definite shakeups over there because there's been a lot more. EU was very kind of close in terms of points. Obviously, there were some teams that were far, like definitely head and shoulders above the others, but NA even more so. So I think there's going to be a lot more shakeups on the NA side. The EU side, there were a couple lower bracket runs that were really impressive to see, but nothing really changed in the overall standings. So I wish I could say I was more surprised by how the bracket shook out, but I think
Yeah.
overall, the teams that we see kind of in the general top half did show that they deserve to be there.
Yep, I couldn't have said it better myself. And that is just kind of more of a teaser for you guys that, hey, we're not even halfway done with the games for today. So if you're enjoying what you're watching, this is just the EU side. There's also the NA side. And also, just want to say, I've seen a lot of you in chat saying this is your first time watching. So welcome. Hope you guys enjoy it. This is a fun place to be. Ask any questions in chat. And there's a lot of people that were here to help you out, really, with anything. So again, welcome. These are the EU games. We are going to get set up for the last match of today. And yeah, we're going to take a quick break as we get the teams loaded back into that lobby. So stay tuned for just a couple minutes, and we will be right back for some more finals action.
Mine come through for Burnt Nuggets. This is everything, Mickey. They need to get there in time. They do. They stop the steal. 50 reload. He's able to do it before you get that super.
Oh, the RPG on the Skillbird. Beamo absolutely beaming right now, finishing off the rest of the team.
Slightly over to the sideline here. The gateway has been placed. They come up from above.
Play commit doing so much, just controlling this team fight.
At this point, you have it. You've got it done.
There's no way.
Left to go. He dashes around. Look at the movement.
An aim point taking down a lot of players there. Great use of the goo gun. Oh, unbelievable techers.
Gangala, they try to jump in. Oh, they do. The team that hits.
Try and go for the steal. And the winch is huge. It doesn't work out though.
He can't do anything yet. No, he still takes it. One versus 3.
This isn't just a game. This is TNT. Welcome to the jungle and welcome to 8 Squad's Thursday Night Throwdown.
Featuring the game's top talent, pick up games where chimps become champions.
Thursday nights 8 to 10 p.m. every week, only on 8 Squad. Catch us live on air on Twitch at twitch.tv/8squadorg.
In the world of sports, every second counts. Every move matters. That's where a Spooze comes in, the sports beverage designed for champions. With a Spooze, it's simple as pop, pour, perform. Packed with electrolytes and essential nutrients to keep you hydrated and energized, Spooze is your go-to drink for peak performance. Whether you're just carrying the vault or securing the winning cash out, Spooze is there to fuel your victory. Its unique formula is scientifically designed to boost your stamina and focus. Spooze, for those who dare to excel. Pop, pour, perform.
And welcome back, everyone. We are here for the grand finals of the EU regional playoffs. It is do or die. If you want to be called the best team in EU, now is the chance. Now is your time to seize it. And what we have is we have Aimers Red versus Aimers Blue. A little bit of red versus blue action here. Why are we here? What are we doing? It is it's a rematch as well, Jerry, isn't it, of what we saw in the upper bracket finals?
Yeah, and just the grand final to decide who is the best team in EU could not mean more. And we've already seen so far, Aimers Blue have come out on top in that series. It was a clean 2-0 as well. Only a single cash out achieved by Aimers Red on Bernal, which was their map pick. Thankfully, they undid that duck on the last game in the last series against Burnt Nuggets and finally won on Bernal and took the series. So maybe they've gained some momentum since then, Rio. But we'll be talking about maps. Maybe we should have a look at the map picks for this series. A weighted best of 5 with Aimers Blue coming out with that upper bracket advantage. So they already have a map under their belt going into this. Is that true? That is untrue. I am completely incorrect. Rio, why don't you take us through the map bans? Because you know what you're talking about.
Yeah, let's take a look at the map bans. And with it being a best of 5, we're going to go through pretty much every map. So I'm curious to see what map they decide to go with, what map they decide to go against. Bernal, we're seeing it overlaid on top of Jerry, but that's okay. Jerry, definitely seems like you would get along well inside Bernal. But moving next to Skyway Stadium, and what will be the third pick? Dun, drum roll, please. Sis Horizon. But I believe that there should be 2 more maps here, so it will then go to...
We'll sort it out.
Las Vegas is next. Okay. Which means that there's only a couple maps left in the pool for us to get to actually go to. Have we seen Monaco a single time today, guys?
Nope. Not Monaco or Seoul.
And we won't at all. An entire tournament without Monaco is a weird tournament. I'm not going to lie. That's a little weird.
Yeah.
No Seoul, no Kyoto as well. But, I mean, we were expecting that.
Yeah. Pick from... but the other 2 they can. Seoul is a very one-sided map, so it's no surprise it's not kind of picked very often. And but Monaco's pretty balanced. There's a couple of weird cash out locations that are a little unbalanced there, but hey, they've decided the way that they want it to go. This has been a Fortune Stadium, Skyway, and Sis Horizon kind of day. Not that I'm complaining whatsoever. And for some reason, everybody wants to start with Bernal.
It's a good start.
Thoughts? Yeah.
I think it's a good map to start on. And yeah, we're about to jump into it now. Can Atelco actually take it to his brother and prove he's the better one? You know, they're going to sort it out on Bernal. So let's throw it to you guys as we jump into our first match.
Let's do it. I am excited, guys. This is a red versus blue. One more time for the day. Getting started on Bernal. If you guys have a favorite Aimers team, let us know in chat. If you guys don't have a favorite team, guess what? You do now. And root for them, whoever you choose, red or blue, as we get started.
Absolutely. So, map 1 of the series. And, of course, they are just... Gonna have a little, this is tradition. Of course, we mark our territory at the start. We don't have knife fights here in the finals, but they are, of course, brothers in arms, the Aimers Red, meeting up in the middle. And now, we are ready to go. The guns are revving, and they can take their sides and engage proper.
Okay, well, and with the global chat in private matches, they were able to have a nice little handshake there before the combat got started. Something that might turn into a little bit of a common thing in the finals. Who knows? As the game gets started.
Yes.
Yeah. There is the minigun revving itself up, trying to find its next victim, but Perzone having to put up his mesh shield because he's taken a lot of damage. C4 goes off, and he was actually able to get somebody with that, but Atelco has gone down. Both of these teams are relatively on top of each other, and I'm not sure why they've pulled off for just a little bit of time. Atelco not still up yet. There is the minigun revving itself up. There is a DMAT through the wall as well, but Perzone gets chased from behind, having to throw down his mesh shield, getting Noah down by holding that minigun down himself, and it is now a 1 versus 1 as Roma stays alive and is able to get the kill, and it looks like Aimers Red have taken the, I'm sorry, it is Aimers Blue who have taken the cash.
Yeah, and of course, Roma, in effective 1 versus 2 there. We saw him be the standout player in this matchup earlier in the day, and this is a player that has only just sort of come out of the woodwork during this split. You know, they had a different lineup in the first split, Aimers Blue. These changes have really worked for them, it seems. So here we go, just moving his way over to cash out B with box in hand. Forgets to open that door. It's weird, like sometimes they just open for you, like that animation plays, sometimes they don't. That was a weird one.
Definitely, and they are all grouped up, ready to go.
Like this.
The invis grenade going down. Perfect way to stop everybody from seeing your approach, but Noah and his teammates are lock-bolted in. They are still lock-bolted, but they're just waiting it out, and they're getting kill after kill. They need to stay in this fight, and there's one person left on Aimers Red. Can they spot him out? There they go, trying to bring him down, and there is a team wipe. It's looking pretty good for the Aimers Blue so far.
Absolutely. That's a really, really strong start from them. And yeah, that engage was so clean with the Vanish Bomb. We've seen it a few times today. Is there a... I'm not too sure. Is there like a way that you see Aimers Red fighting this one back at the moment? They've really struggled to make a dent in Aimers Blue.
I think they need to go hard and fast. I think that they're seeing really kind of a slow, structured approach, and I think that that's just not the way to do it. I think that they need to break in the defenses, get a kill, and then just swarm on them. Here comes the bounce pad in. They are ready to bring it to him. They lock-bolted them down again. I think both sides are running a lock-bolt, getting stuck in the stairwell. Perzone going down. Noah on 8 health. He needs to stay alive so that they can stay in control of this cash-out. Cash-out running down to its last 4th, but I think there's only one person remaining on Aimers Red. His health is back up. We can see them through the walls, but they cannot. They did get spotted out through that hole in the ceiling. He is running away, but Rybinski trying to stay alive with just a quarter of health left, maybe a little bit less. His teammates have coined back in. Atelco is here, ready to go for this push, but again, there's not really much time. They would need to be on the cash out right now, and they've decided that they can't even make the push. So I think that they're going to try and go for any kills that they can on the rooftop and go for a reset as the vault spawns really close to Aimers Red.
There was a fun bit of red light, green light there in the middle of that fight as Aimers Blue all found themselves on like 2 HP each, and they just thought, you know, we're all going to hide in corners, wait for the regen, we're in a 3 versus 1. They're not going to go hunting for us, we'll be alright. And it worked. They gathered themselves, they fought that 3 versus 1 in the most sensible possible way. And sometimes those are the kind of calls you need to, you know, stop sort of blunders happening. You know, they're a very sensible team. They've managed to make that work for them. There was the definite blunder potential in that moment. But out goes the lock bolt from Perzone. He's winched in and has to deploy his dome as he goes for the escape. Drops a C4 on his tail, but doesn't catch anyone as he retreats. Roma has been taken down here by Rybinski. The Light finally winning that fight. Rybinski with a second as well. High impact play from the sub. Raimka forced into a corner here. Will sneak his way, just slink inside this lovely little apartment here and let Aimers Red tap the vault.
Yep, it's the right play because everybody around him is dead. They do have coins. I think they give us too many coins in this final round, but hey, that's just my opinion. but it will allow them to coin back in the last 3 more seconds and get them regrouped, because the vault really doesn't matter too much. It really matters who stays in control of it once they get it plugged in. But I'm not sure what happened there, because I thought Aimers Red were in control of the vault, but it's still quite a ways away. They are a little bit split up, but now Roma getting lock bolted in on top of this roof, having to break it to run away from it and get back with his team. Now it seems like Aimers Blue have taken control of the vault and want to bring it to the other side of the map. I don't think that they want to bring it head on to the Aimers Red, where they were set up at Cash Out A.
No, it's an interesting decision. Of course, this box is just sitting up there, and it's so inviting, right? For Aimers Red, you've got to sort of restrict yourself from just going, ooh, shiny box, I want to go get. So you have to engage as a team. You have to play for the kills. Itelco lurking underneath, looking for some sort of play up with a DMAT. Expect the jump pad very shortly, and expect Roma to be in a position to try and beam people out of midair. He did so very effectively while defending the last point. Sends that Vanish Bomb long, doesn't actually meet its target, which is unfortunate for Reimka, who is maybe hoping to become an invisible heavy for a moment. A lot of tentative touching here, but eventually Reimka takes a bit of damage as Rabinski sprays. They have managed to grab the box successfully here, Aimers Red, and now the Jets are scrambling, Rio.
Yes,
oh, they've thrown it away. What?
I liked your term, tentative touching. That is a very unique one I'm going to store in the back of my vault. But Roma going down immediately, and Perzone revving up that minigun just eats through any of the barricades and mesh shields that are placed up. Last person remaining from the Aimers Blue decides to just go out in fashion and gets the reset. So this will put the vault in control of Aimers Red.
Yeah, Perzone just revving up that minigun for its next engagement. Do love the jet engine skin on this thing. Right. I mean, I love the skins in this game in general, but to release a gun with already just such a top tier skin available, you know, anyone can get this as well. You just got to grind that battle pass a little bit. It really is one of my favorites in the game at the moment, and yeah, it's absolutely gorgeous. Love the reload animation too. What a skin. Anyway, back to the esports.
Back to the esports, but I actually just unlocked that skin, so I totally understand.
Same.
But there is the mesh shield put up by Perzone. He blocks that red barrel, which is a good way to stop the incoming damage. He spots out that there is a gateway thrown up by Aimers Blue and wants to watch it to wait for them to come through it. That minigun, as they fall through, is a great spot for him to be in. Lockbolt in hand, wants to throw it off. He could get a couple of them there if he wants to throw it in, but I'm not sure he could capitalize on it just yet. It's very interesting to see the lockbolt being pulled out even more in favor of than the C4 or the RPG. So it's kind of interesting to see, but there it is. There's the dome shield. Here comes the push from Aimers Blue. They want to get in there, but they're very split up. The gateway went through, but they had to break up in going through it, but there is no X going down. Can Perzone find the next person as he climbs up the stairwell? Ooh. He gets him down very low, but sadly Roma is able to get the kill on that fight. Rabinski trying to follow it up, get the next kill if he can. Cash Out is ticking down, and it seems to be going in the favor of Aimers Red, especially if they can find this last kill. He spotted him out, and there he goes. There goes the wipe, and I'm pretty certain that that secures them the cash.
Yeah, Roma really just playing for the coin there, hoping that his teammates might be able to get in and that they get a second wave of attack there, but no dice for him, and we will go all the way again on Bernal. We saw these teams earlier go to that final cash outs. Look at Rabinski. Standing up tall with 8 kills to his name across, what, a total of maybe 4 or 5 fights, if that. So, yeah, really, really nice stuff from this light player. He's woken up.
Definitely woken up, indeed. And it says that if you look at the scoreboard or the billboards on the side, he has 7 kill streak right now. So he's gotten 7 kills without dying. So that's amazing. I honestly really like those billboards. Cool, a little addition to the game, but they immediately get swarmed by the other team and unable to kind of commit to that fight. They decide to dip out of there. Both teams racing towards vault number 3. It seems like Aimers Blue will make it there first to get the tap on it, but Rabinski hopping over this wall noticed that the rest of the team is there. There was a glitch grenade in his hand, so he was ready to throw that down, but the fight hasn't really gotten started just yet. Now he's gone invis, does have that thermal vision in hand as well. It's a great thing to have when he's ready to fight like this. He's taking a lot of damage, brings him down to 60 HP. He is getting swarmed up there. Lockbolt going down. Both teams throw down their dome shield. The glitch grenade going off as well. Ramke going down. Rubinski having to hide in the stairwell. Now his health has been rezzed back up. Spots one of them out. Tries to chase him. And he's able to get him. Roma going down. Gateway going down to get him back on top of that roof. Didn't really go exactly where he had planned, but there he is now back on top of the roof. Only Atelko is down, and he spots out Noah. Can he bring him down? He gets Noah down immediately, goes through that gateway, and this is likely to lean the fight in their favor. But they are all just bouncing in and out of that gateway. They are chaining up that minigun, chasing down this last Aimers Red member. It is a 1 versus 1. Roma, and can he find the kill?
Oh!
Sadly, the C4 goes off. Are you kidding me? What a kill!
And he ascends to join his people as well. I'm so sad we didn't get a clean shot of that emote at the end. Fully deserved from Furzon. Wow. Great C4. I want to see this moment again. Let's just bathe in its beauty. Rubinski, honestly, like, you'd expect him to get this kill. But wow, what a nasty trap. There we go. There he is ascending. Wow.
Yeah, that was insane. That was wild, but it puts Aimers Red in control of this cash out. Can they maintain it? Can they hold it? What's going to happen, Jerry? I'm at the edge of my seat.
You use your whole seat. You paid for it, Rio. You know? Like, don't just use the edge. Yeah, wasteful. Anyway, here we go. It looks as though the Heavy is ready to dive on in. He's gone deep into this building, but the rest of Aimers Red have fallen back. Noah X trying to work his angle from this top side. Reimka having to drop his barricades, and he finds a sledge kill. Roma cleans up the rest as well. Excellent positional play there from Reimka. Just put himself right in the thick of it. Got 2 crucial kills and let the rest of his supporting team just sort of circle around him. It's that formation we really love to see from Aimers Blue. It's worked so well for them over these days.
Yeah, definitely, and we're watching them now as they blow up their C4 and blow up the other C4 and put their own down on top. It's a really common strategy that we're seeing is that you do exactly this. You put your C4 on top of it and then put a gas barrel as well. So when you blow up your C4, it blows up that gas and just buys you that few extra critical seconds. But here is the push. They are ready to go for it. There's gateways on top of each other. I'm not sure that Aimers Blue know this, but look at that RPG. Are you kidding me? That was directly on top of him as Ramke goes for the next kill. He gets a bonk on a Telco. Can they find the last one? It is down to Ramke, and it is a 1 versus 1, but he is very low. 38 HP. Is he able to survive just a few more seconds? His health will regen. Here it is coming back up, but Aimers Red are able to get a res off of it. They're down to just 10 seconds. Perfect barricade, perfect dome shield, but that glitch grenade is going to bring it down. The steal is happening from Aimers Red. They're able to get it, and can they hold it? I think that they've done it in just enough amount of time. What is this match? Aimers Red, it went back and forth, and the celebration going off. That was intense. Oh my god. Aimers Red took it right at the end.
Non-stop chaos right there. I feel I'm actually sad for Reimka because he landed one of the clips of the season, the Predator drone. Like, gatewaying to the skybox and then landing with the RPG. Oh, that is peak content right there. He wasn't able to clutch it in the end. He was so close, though. Here we go. Boom. Wow. Rubinski did not know what hit him in that moment. And he was so close at the very end as well. Played his life almost perfectly. Almost landed the winch on the cash out as it was being stolen. That would have won the map for Reimka and his team, but Aimers Red, finally, not only have they finally won a Bernal against their opposite numbers, they finally won a map against their opposite numbers. And it happens to be Bernal, but the Bernal storyline for Aimers Red today has been like a roller coaster. It's a roller coaster that has only gone up, to be fair.
Yeah.
And it's just going to stay at the top now. It's actually quite a boring roller coaster when you think about it. But the rest of the maps, let's call them the remainder of the ride in this ridiculous analogy, Rio.
Yeah, they're the loops. We got to go through a few
Yeah.
loops before we get to the smooth end, but I am speechless. That was such a fun, exciting map. You can tell how close these teams are. And I think that this is a great showcase of how far they've made it, how far that they've come in just both battles, and how well that they're doing in both game modes. So this is exciting. It's just really fun to witness. And guys out there, I know I said it before. I know there's a lot of new players or new people watching for the first time. This is where you find your teams to follow, because these two teams are really good heavy hitters, and I hope that we're making some new fans here, because I promise you that the Aimers Blue and Aimers Red is a name that you're going to become even more familiar with as we go through kind of this next year up to the major. But yeah, just really exciting stuff. I am excited to get into this next match, which I believe will be on Skyway, if my brain
Yeah.
is correct. So
It absolutely will be. And Skyway Stadium is, a great map. We've seen it a couple of times today. It is going to be Aimers Red's pick. So, interestingly, that was Aimers Blue pick. We've had a kind of a weird. There's even more layers to the Bernal story across the day. Eventually, Aimers Red not even picking it and it being their win. So they've hit some momentum. Maybe they just needed to warm up against Burnt Nuggets. That might genuinely be it. We'll take this moment just between maps to mention and shout out Crash, our chief PR officer from Via. If you want to go check him out, he is at twitch.tv/Broxton. Our main sponsor for this event has contributed an absolute heck ton to our prize pool. And we are here now, right away, on Skyway Stadium. Let's get started here, Rio.
I can't wait. Let's see what's going to happen. Their sledge is still in hand. No handshakes in the arena today. They're ready to get at it. There's Shelly in hand, trying to make his way into the arena, closer that they can with that sledge. They want to get as close as they can, but he's having to dip and dive out of these buildings. Not really there because everybody took a gateway around him, and sadly, Ramke is left away from his team, and no kills either. So he's down to 9 HP and running around. We see Roma getting the res off, and now all of Aimers Blue is back up, and the fight is right here on top of each other. Sledge is going down. I see one bonk that went off, but there is a res going off on Aimers Red. They have everybody back in this fight now. Roma trying to get a kill. He does bring a Telco down. Can he spot anybody else out? Right on top of him. Oh my god, but the minigun does work, and it looks like Aimers Blue took this first fight.
Noah X with some insane kills in the middle of that as well. I'd love to get a flash of the scoreboard and see the stats after that fight, because it felt like everyone was pitching in. Yeah, Roma the only person not to get a kill, but we saw how active he was. Noah X, Reimke with 2 apiece. And yeah, really strange fight. They actually have an equal number of kills between the two teams, and yet, it's the number of revives that really mattered in that fight for Aimers Blue.
Yeah, no kidding. And there is a bounce pad. They're ready to just bring this fight back in. Both teams just seem eager to just get into it, get the combat going, and take it whichever way it's going to go. So here is Aimers Blue. They have control of this cash out, and they're going to hold it as best they can. They have a few opportunities to drop it as Aimers Red make their way into this building. There is the first DMAT to get through this floor, but they're going to be right underneath it and able to drop this cash. They throw some smoke down. They're going to go for the steal almost right away. I think this is a good play for them. Lockbolt in play as well. Gas going down. They're trying to get on top of it, but this is just getting wild. Now there is the minigun spinning up. Perzone is the last person remaining, and this push is not going well for them.
No, I have a hunch that this is going to be Reimke's map, right? This is, of all maps, besides maybe Monaco, which bizarrely we haven't seen to date, one of the best for the Sledgehammer. And we've seen, Perzone, he's very staunchly sticking on that minigun, and he was revving up in the corner of that room, but just didn't find anything on the other end of it. No real opportunities presented themselves, and that's the difference on Skyway, is that you have to make those chances for yourself. You can't just let them happen. Some very open rooms here that Reimke is considering dropping a goo right in the middle of, just to tighten things up a little bit. Lands some gas just to delay the point. It goes for, once again, the iconic Predator drone move, but no one's, thankfully for Aimers Red, nobody's outdoors. That timer is ticking away, though. Amers Blue in a decent position here to waste it as they are all up. A great hook there on Rubinski, snatching the light out of midair, and it pays well to catch a player like that on the other end of things. Down goes a few players. Remco finally melted, but Etelko and Rubinski still in a decent position here. Right now, they are going for that steal. The wipe hasn't come through. Can the deny come through from Norex? He can. Great kills all round from the medium. Rubinski finds Roma off to the side, but despite finding the wipe at the end of it, Amers Red just haven't done enough there, and that is a first cash out going the way of Amers Blue.
That was wild. I did not expect that at all. I really thought that the Amers Blue had it. They had the amount of time. They had a good positioning, but they just dived in there, and Amers Red were able to get the cash, and just, yeah, it was wild to see. I'm sorry, unable to get it. So Amers Blue on top right now. They are in control, and we're going to see vault number 2 be tapped. It is going to be Rubinski as he throws those gateways up. He's getting them really high up, and I'm curious if he's just throwing them in a special way or what he's doing, but he's really getting them quite up there in a few of his tosses that I've noticed.
Maybe he's meleeing them as they leave his grip, like you can with the
do
cash
that?
out.
I didn't know. No. Yeah.
No, I don't think you can. It would be very, very funny if you could. No, I think he's just, good with it. He just knows. He understands.
Baseball player.
Obviously, a very telegraphed entry from Amers Blue here as they dive on in through that gateway, but it's a little bit far away, so there's no shots in return. The lockbolt comes out from Perzon, and the winch comes out. That is some proper CC from Remka. He says, you want to lockbolt me? I'm going to winch you back in. Get over here. Has to drop that shield very smartly. Well, 2 HP, just stays alive, but as we hop back over to where the real action is taking place, Remka is making his name known. It appears so much in the kill feed here. That Sledge Heavy, and of course, only Perzon, the Heavy, that managed to escape, left alive. Roma, he's going hunting, though. He wants to take down this straggler.
Yeah, I mean, it's an interesting strategy. It also puts them in front of the enemy team to make sure that they have the best opportunity to dive on them if they need to. But there is the gateway, and they're all going to follow through it, going on top of the hotel and bringing them over to Cash Out C. Is that where they want to bring this? It's not where I would take it. I would try and take it to A, more in kind of that hotel, or in that, what area is that? The medical district over on A. But C, hey, that's where they're bringing it. They're bringing it directly to C. They're going to get it started. And it looks like Amers Red is here. They are ready to push on directly. There is Rubinski trying to find anybody out. His team following in chase. The push is starting to happen now, and they're going to be able to go right on top of them. They are there and looking for anybody, but nothing has happened just yet.
He was stomping around. He was stomping around to bait that they might be above, and the rest of the team has gone down. So a bit of recon as well. And now they're trying to drop it. They're trying to get that still going. Of course, this will only be a bait as they can demat their way down. That glitch doesn't connect with the medium. Unfortunately, means that demat does succeed from Amers Blue. Amers Red have to fall back and try and engage yet again. But they are at full strength. Out goes another glitch. It actually hits himself. Not ideal as they send it all the way in. Roma finds the kill onto Perzon. And Telko takes down Remke. A bit of a trade there. Rubinski finds Roma. So that's 2 lights. The 1 light now left standing at the only Rubinski. The res has come through onto the Heavy. This is a very good situation we're looking at right now for Amers Red. They should be able to get this wipe if they're quick enough about it. But regardless, they'll be able to try and get this steal.
Yep, this will put them back into this match and puts Amers Blue a little bit further away from getting the points. So this could be where Amers Red turn it around. I hope that they are able to hold control of it because Amers Blue are now all back into the map and they want to start this push. Here is Ramkey coming in, RPG in hand, and also the Sledgehammer. They have about a 1/4 of this cash out left. It is ticking down and they are all very closely tight together. Here comes the push. There's the Sledge breaking that wall down. They see the C4 on it. He's trying to stand a little bit to the right of it so the C4 doesn't blow up in his face, but he's taking a lot of damage from above. This is going to stop the steal if they have one more opportunity to dive on it right now, but there it goes out the window. It's not going to have enough time even if they dive on it right now. And here is Atelko back with the Cerberus trying to clean up on these fights, but they are still going at it even though the cash is already in hand. Rubinski trying to stay alive, dipping and diving all around here. Gateway in hand, ready to go out. There he he goes, dipping back on top of the roof, looking for his next victim, but also trying to stay alive with the rest of his team. There he spots out Noah and gets him down. They are all very low now, and Natelko probably is going to coin back in just a second. Here he comes as Prezone staying about half health. Telko coining back in just like I predicted, but he spots another one out from that little bridge segment. This is a really long, drawn out, no real point fight. I'm not sure what's happening here, Jerry, but I'm out of breath.
Yep, about time. I was like, ow, like, oh my god, this fight really is just not ending. And Person had decided, you know, he's the last, he's the loser in this fight, right? He's the one that's left dead at the end of it. Because that's all that mattered. Great hold, though, you know, to be honest for a second, great hold there to push this to a final cash out on Skyway. It's a good positional play here by Amos Red as they're just watching as Amos Blue approach free. It will be the tap. Hopefully we don't get the Mexican standoff. No, we don't. Straight into the action. Thank goodness for that. Rubinski taking up a perch here as he gets Invis into a nice position. Almost beams down the player, but runs out of bullets. Has to go chasing and gets taken out from behind. Roma rescuing a Telco there. Raimka now getting into 1v1 against his opposite number, the Heavy. Noex trying to support here from range, and he finally gets that angle. Noah as well, or rather Roma supporting, and that is a clean wipe coming out from Amers Blue. So they tap the vault.
Yeah, Amers Blue did that pretty perfectly in every mood. Oh, and Noah's proud of himself as well. We get his little
stylish.
Yeah. I think that's from like season 1. I can't remember. It's been quite a bit. No, it was actually season 2. Whenever we got that little water dragon thing, I think with Kyo. But anyway, we talk about skins way too much because Rampy now throws the vault over and his team is going to get it plugged. Amers Blue, I think this is their opportunity to take this map. This cash out is one of the most challenging ones to push and hold, but here it is. It's already getting started as Rubinski is trying to spot somebody out. He knows that they're close, but he's going to run right into the trap, and he did. Roma was ready and waiting for a person to push just like he did, and Noah popping his head out looking for the next person as well. Things are slowing down just a hair as they get reset and want to go for this next push. It looks like the Amers are just kind of retreating.
They're heading to construction right there just to get a decent angle of approach, of course. Now, this gives the opportunity for Remka and Co on the side of Amers Blue to take up a good position themselves. They're heading to the rooftop, it seems. They may not get there up in time to hold completely. No, they will. Rubinski finally coins in, and it looks as though all of Amers Blue are set. Roma, again, taking point as the kind of beamer of the bunch. Just find a lot of damage onto Rubinski. In fact, finds the kill with some cheeky headshots mid-air. And that's going to cause some real problems for Amers Red on their approach. Down goes the dome shield. It's not going to protect them enough. And another very successful wipe coming out from Amers Blue, who are starting to run away with this game now, Rio.
Yeah, and I've seen this exact thing from Amers Blue, honestly. Like, they take a map to figure out a team, and then after they figured them out, that's it. Like, this is kind of what we see. They have control, their comms are on point. It's pretty much what I expect from Amers Blue. I'm glad that kind of they're turning it around. Roma with 10 kills, look at that. Yeah. And it's almost 7k to his point.
That's crazy. It's going to be a last-ditch effort here from Amers Red. They have to full send. They've got the lockbolt in hand, just hoping to get a few picks. It's a decent position to try and go for a dome steal, but of course, everyone on Amers Blue playing off, playing away. They're playing for the 1v1s here, trying to force a long fight out, kiting away. Although Amers Red are still standing, but that timer looks like they have to get on it right this second. Noah X has positioned himself perfectly with a full Overwatch of that point. Couple of kills to his name, and Amers Blue, in what could have been a really tight match, really felt like they walked away with it with the last couple of cash outs there, Rio.
No, it was great. And hey, look, they're even being friendly with each other in chat. You know, it's saying nice positioning.
It was great
for each other. It was because he like fell into that trap right when they like crossed over each other. Look at the amount of wins that those people have. I had never even seen that before. They have like 5,000 wins. Here I am with like, I think I just crossed 1,000. So yeah, it's just wild. But hey, these were amazing teams going against each other. Amers Blue just found their wind and they just sailed. That was fun.
Yeah, that's what it takes though. That amount of commitment to the game. You know, you've got to put in the hours. And if you don't, then you're going to suffer for it. But yeah, they really, really made quite an impression there. 10, 9, and 7 were the final kill tallies across the side of Amers Blue. So yeah, they're putting in the work in every department, and that was. It says 2-1 in terms of 50,000 to 25k on my notes, but that really did feel like a solid victory for Amers Blue. Off the back of a Bonal map that was a lot tighter as well. So we're even now in the finals. It is a 1-1. We've traded maps. We're now basically just entering a best of 3, Rio, to decide who is the best team in EU, who are the best aimers, red or blue.
Yeah, you're right. It is turning into a best of 3 because I don't know. I'm pretty certain that we're going to see all 5 maps here. I just feel it. These are too close. The other side of it, it could be what I was just talking about, how Amers Blue have just figured out Amers Red. I'm only hesitant to say go against that because these teams kind of scrim each other a lot. Like they know each other. So I feel like that this doesn't apply as well to kind of my past prediction, but I don't know. They could just kind of, yeah.
There is some strength in that, though, because, people have on days and off days, and people have, days where they're feeling a particular strat or a particular kind of move. Maybe it's those habits that they've noticed, oh, he's going to try and flank here. Oh, he's taking these sorts of angles. Like, we'll play around that. Just these tiny little micro things that really we as casters are never going to be privy to unless we, get an interview with these players, which I'd love to do at the end of this. But here we go. The third map in our best of 5. One apiece right now between Amers Red and Amers Blue, and we're here on Sis Horizon. Glitch Grenade comes out, and it doesn't connect with Rainker. The winch isn't connecting either. There's a couple of whiffs back and forth. Neither team really taking too much damage, but a lot of resources spent now, as I think it will benefit both teams to fall back a little bit right now. They're doing just that. Rainker being given chase to, drops a goo canister. It's not going to waste any of his own resources in this, and they're going to reposition, get that jump pad and the D-map to find the high ground.
Yeah, they've come right back into this fight. This is a great time to strike because they know people like Atelko are already low. Going for that winch, but it just missed him and got that red barrel instead. Hate to see it, but he followed it up with an RPG that also kind of missed. So now he's looking to find and correct for his mistakes, and he is able to get Perzone down in that fight. But it looks like the last person from Amers Red is quite a ways away, and he's at the vault all by himself. Not really sure what he's doing here.
Yeah, that's a weird decision to go and tap that, because obviously right now Amers Blue are in control of the vault, despite the fact that it's got a pink diamond on it. So yeah, Telco with a very strange move there. And in the mid-lap fight, I forget how quick the cooldown on the winch feels sometimes. Like, it felt like a few seconds ago that Rainker had missed his winch on the light. He rounds the corner, finds a heavy, winches him. Like, it's so quick. And it's such a fight-winning move that, you can afford to be liberal with them and whiff a couple. Because if you land one, you're going to get a kill off the back of it, especially if you've got the beautiful bamboo sledgehammer that he's rocking right now.
No kidding. And just the idea that you can pull somebody out of position from their team, especially with groups like this that play so tightly together, it is just critical when you pull somebody out like that. So, yeah, sledge and a winch is a really interesting way to play in these matches. I kind of love it, to be honest. But here he goes. He's raking a hole through the ceiling, chasing them down just a little bit to the right. They have to pull off of this steal, which is a good move for Amers Red. They pull up now to the top of there, and there is that pull out of position, just like I was talking about. But Atelko was ready and able to bring Rampy down in that battle. But there is Perzone firing up that minigun in that stairwell, able to get him there, but goes for a trade, and now Perzone gets rezzed back up by his teammate. They are going for a steal, and they need to stick it now, and yeah, it's a team wipe too. They don't need to stick it because they have it.
Yeah, very nice play there from Amers Red, and there was a moment there where you just felt that Rainker overstepped the mark a little bit, running right out into the middle of that room to try and land the winch, and there were so many guns trained on him. He didn't even go for the overhead by the time the winch had completed its animation, because he knew he only had time to go for a normal swing, and that's, minimal damage given the cost that it had. So now a last-ditch effort again to dive that point, throwing off the gas barrel, and so that breach or C4 only deals the explosive damage. The dome over the top, they may be able to land this. They do. The steal is successful. The kills come out, and Roma, he can dive out the way. He's done enough. He may be able to kite away and stop Rubinski from stealing it back. That he has. Amers Blue. That is the heist of the century.
Oh my god. They were able to get that steal, and then, yep, he just bounced out of there. Didn't need to be there anymore. They got it at the perfect time, and there wasn't even a chance to get back in there. What was that? Oh, these
Wow.
teams. Yeah, all right. And for y'all watching, there is no bad blood between these teams. This is very friendly banter, but it is it looks way worse than it actually is on screen.
No. Rio, we're here to stoke the fires. They
Sorry,
hate each
sorry.
other. That's
They
what it is.
hate each other. They live across from the rooms from each other, but they seed hate every time they see each other. And the only way they communicate is through the finals. Sorry. I had to correct myself.
I wonder if they can overhear some French swearing. That would be really tasty, but maybe not. Roma now, well, he's putting his money where his mouth is. He wins that fight. I was afraid he was going to have to eat his words for a second there, but that L will stick. And can he deliver yet another dub in the direction of Amers Blue as he finds the long angle onto Perzon? He is ripping and tearing. This light cannot be stopped, Rio.
Yeah, this is insane. And there is a bonk, and Amers Red get deleted. I don't know about you, but Amers Blue are looking pretty good so far, especially
This
with Roma.
Horizon is
6
like
kills.
It's his map. He
Yeah.
did this earlier. Like, there's no contesting this light on Sis Horizon. It's unbelievable what he's able to get away with. Yeah, we're heading over to A as they're getting the gateway set up, in case you're wondering why they're abandoning 2. This is a common move. If you've watched any of the Pro League, you've probably seen it. If you played a decent amount of ranks, it's a very common strat. It's why the gateway is pretty much the most played gadget among lights in both EU and NA right now. It just gives you that quick speed. It cuts so much time off of your commute, you know? You've got to be efficient and keep the receipts as well so that you can claim them back.
It's a good team play gadget too. Like it really works well if you kind of play with your team. But looking now as Amers Blue kind of go for a slow approach, but they immediately get caught out right after the invis grenade goes off on top of them. They are breaking holes in the roof, trying to make it where they can spot somebody out if they are stealing that cash. But right now, all 6 people are very split up. They are looking for these 1v1s, trying to get somebody down in this battle. But I think that they're forgetting that Amers Blue is in control of this cash out, and if they're able to get it, they win this map. There is an RPG going down. Ramke throwing these barricades up in a really good timing. He's going to get Noah back up if he can, but he's taking a lot of damage from it. He's so low. Gets Perzone down and sadly goes down in that fight. Amers Blue get wiped, but Amers Red will take the cash, but I think the Amers Blue will have one more opportunity to make a push.
Yeah, there is definitely a chance there. Amers Blue, I got a feel for them because there was a moment where Remke actually could have trusted his teammate there. He went for the swing on someone that was about to kill him while he was almost fully rezzing a Telco. And if he'd stuck it, he'd have succeeded, and they'd have been 3 up, or, you know, at least he'd have given his life to get a Telco back up, perhaps. But it's, you know, it's one of those just micro decisions that you'll look back on and you think, yeah, couldn't have done anything about that, really. Just the wrong decision made in the moment. We got a last-ditch dive once again by Noah, but that DMAT and jump pad, is it enough to stall the point for potentially long enough? Down comes the minigun. This is such a fantastic position right here from Perzon. He's giving his team all of the possible chances of winning this fight and keeping hold of this cash. Unfortunately, the angle isn't quite a head glitch for him, and Roma will scarper away and keep his KD relatively intact, but they have won the war as Amers Red claim that second cash out. We go all the way to the third. Perzon just doing a little bit of a 2-step there, deciding he doesn't want to fully res his teammate, and then finishes it off.
There you go. You know, they're playing really well like a team. This is wild. Every map so far has gone down to 3. These teams are battling it out. This is going to come down to this last vault, this last plug.
This is a quick fight.
They are right on top of each other already. This is wild. They are going for an ego battle, but there is a Telco getting pulled out and gets swung on and then RPG'd in the face and goes down in that battle. Ramke now looking for his next victim. He wants to bonk, and here it comes. There's a bonk followed up by an elbow. Gets Perzone just deleted in that fight. Can he find the next person? He climbs up on his barricades, trying to go behind them. He does, and he gets that winch claw. Can he get him? A Telco down as well. It is down to the last person on Amers Red as he gets spotted out, but sadly, and there he goes. He gets deleted. All of the Reds are dead. Whew.
And Roma again sits atop the pile of coins. 9 kills to his name. Quietly outdoing Rubinski on 7 and Reimke on 7. Also very impressive. But yeah, this is Roma's world, and everyone else on both Aimer's sides are just living in it right now. It's unreal what he's doing to this lobby, it feels like.
Yeah, and what's wild too is the fact that somebody on Neighbors Blue, I think it's Noah, has like no kills. He's supporting his team, so he's got 5 assists. But it's one of those things you can't always look at the kills. They don't tell the whole story because they're doing great right now. But here is
we're looking the wrong way.
Red. They didn't think that they were going to come right above them. There's a lockbolt as well, and sadly, Reimke is stuck bungee jumping down in the stairwell. Has to fall off, but oh my God, what did I just see? He winch clawed him down with him and gets Perzone down. He is at 54 HP, and he knows that there's another Aimers Blue somewhere in that stairwell. If he can stay alive a few more seconds, his health will regen all the way back up, but people are dying left and right. Sadly misses that winch claw. There they go. Aimers Red get the wipe. Aimers Blue looking pretty. Can they hold it for one more push? I don't know, Jerry. What are your thoughts?
My thoughts are that I'm still getting over Perzone getting winched into a different postcode. That was unbelievable. I don't think I've ever seen such a long range. That was ridiculous. So, yeah, one more fight, most likely. And Roma, once again, padding his stats. 11-3 as it stands. We got to get an eye on where Aimers Red are coming from. They're outside. This is potentially dangerous, but it looks as though Aimers Blue do not have eyes on this right now. So they will get close in. They will even get high ground here. Rubinski leading the charge. They're just doing that scouting. This is what their Invis Light is for, trying to find contact, but his teammates find it before he does. No kills either way, but some damage sent in both directions. Noah X low as well as a Telco. The brothers, the mediums, both waiting for that regen. It comes, and now they have to try and take the fight yet again. Up above is the Heavy doing their 1v1s. Reimke taken out by Perzone. That is the Heavy on the side of Aimers Red, winning the heads-up gunfight. Now Rubinski trying to take out his opposite number. He finds it. A Telco, in fact, finds that kill. And now is only one player left standing on the side of Aimers Blue. Can they find him? Yes, they can. That is the wipe, and that is the steal successful. Aimers Red flip it at the death, and they go ahead in the best of 5.
This is such a back and forth, and it's just it's wild. Like, I have never seen teams where you just don't even know until the last few seconds where it is. And I said that earlier today, that's one of my favorite ways to watch the finals, where it's just undecided until the very end, because that's what makes this game awesome. There are just so many last second wild plays that just make or break a team. And yeah, this is a back and forth like I haven't seen in a long time. So this is refreshing. This is fun. Noah going no kills, but still getting some damage there. But Aimers Red able to kind of maybe deflate a little bit in the sails of Aimers Blue. Yeah, wild to see. We're going to get some thoughts on what these first 3 maps have been from our commentator from our desk here, Waltz. Waltz, how you doing?
I'm doing well. These have been some crazy games. The amazing stuff from them. We go into 3 cash outs on so many. We already are going to get to at least a game 4. I love to see it. It's what we hope from these grand finals. And I'm kind of blown away by even. So you mentioned in the commentary as well that Noak's just not really. Not really finding his footing in this last match. Didn't have a lot of kills. But I think that kind of speaks to a lot of the. Even when you're not running heal, your medium, if you get picked first, does so much damage to the rest of your team fight. And we've seen that a lot when it's Helco goes down first, when Noax goes down first. They're the glue of these fights. Roma's popping off. Yes, we all see the kill feed. But it's really down to whether or not you can get that revive. Your Heavy needs to have that DMAT. He needs to be able to maneuver properly. Without that, you lose so much utility. And it's really kind of coming down to, are they in the proper position? Are they setting up the way they need to be? And I think that's where a lot of the focus has been from these two.
Yeah, it's interesting because we put so much of our focus on the lights. You know, they were lighting up the scoreboard, and then of course the Heavies with the winch plays and the sledgehammers, and even from Perzone in the middle of that on the second cash out with his exceptional minigun work. Like, there was a lot of emphasis placed on those 2 classes, and they often do steal the limelight just by nature of what they are and what they can do. But yeah, the mediums really are the core of these teams. Quite literally, in fact, you know, they're the team captains, they're the ones that have formed the teams around them, and they're the brothers in arms. So it is good to get a window and see just how pivotal they can be.
Yeah.
Yep.
No, it's really interesting. I'm excited to see what we see next because yeah, we're moving up to our 4th match now, and this could be the final match of the entire day. Rio, how does that
Oh
feel?
wow. Oh, heartbreaking. I don't want it to end. I mean, I love watching the finals, and I know that there are the NA games coming up later, but yeah, I am just enjoying them. The matches really have gotten progressively better. Like they've gotten wilder. We started off a really weird matchup, and we've ended where we are today in just exciting, fun,
Amazing games.
amazing games. Yeah, and I've forgotten what the next map is. Does anybody remember
You're going to be
where
heading
we're
out
going next?
to Las Vegas Stadium. So you'll be heading to
Ooh.
Las Vegas for map number 4. Fingers crossed. I'm hoping for a map number 5 because we'd love to see it go the full way. But I'm going to let you guys take it away with map number 4 on Vegas.
Thank you
All
very
right,
much,
well,
Waltz. Whew. All right, Rio. We've seen a lot of gameplay today. This
yeah.
could be the last map, as Waltz was mentioning.
Oh, don't say that.
But we could see Aimers Blue take it all the way to 5 maps. You know, it's on the cards. Aimers Red, though, let's think about this. You know, they got beaten roundly and soundly by Aimers Blue earlier in a best of 3, a 2-0. Aimers Red have really turned it on. They've been warmed up by the Burnt Nuggets themselves. Maybe they have Burnt Nuggets to thank for this second win that they found. And it would be, you know, not a lower bracket run, but a lower bracket flip. So let's see what happens as Rabinski gets the tap on the first vault here on Vegas, our map number 4 in the grand final. Aimers Red looking to lock it out in 4.
Let's see if they can do it or if Aimers Blue can come back and bring us to one more map. We're going to find out as Aimers Blue make their way to the Mega Dome. We also see that one person is off to the side there. I think it's Noah X. He might be trying to intercept it if this vault goes directly to a B, but it looks like now Atelco is there and they are going to get the plug and get this started. So it looks like Aimers Red are in control of this cash out to begin, but one of them has already gone down. They're going to get a res right off on Urbinsky, and the vault cash out is just falling right down below them. There is everybody just converging inside this middle area. Noah X gets a nice little reload on his gun, and they are going directly for the steal. There is a wipe on the red right after that. We missed a couple of the kills, but they're looking good as Aimers Blue have the cash.
Yeah, Aimers Red did really feel like they were on the back foot during pretty much all that fight. Look at the combat score on both teams, right? That just says everything, right? Aimers Red, they stayed alive for way longer than they should have, but they were basically devoting all of their utility, all of their movement to doing exactly that, staying alive, and that doesn't win you fights, unfortunately. You got to get kills, you know? So, Aimers Blue in a good spot right here. This will just be a one-fight cash-out right now. There's only, what, a minute left on that timer, so Aimers Red have to get this contact perfect.
Yep, here is the push. They need to make something happen. Aimers Red are kind of grouped up, but Aimers Blue are split up more on the roof. They are going to bring the fight right over here. Roma taking a lot of damage, down to 16 HP, able to move out of the combat area. This is a good move from him, but Ramke goes down in that battle. This is not looking good for them as this cash out runs toward its last 4th. It is running very low, and Ramke is very out of position. They can't even find his coin. Yeah, well, I mean, his coin is out of his totem, whatever you call it, is not in the spot that it wants to be. There is the steal. Aimers Red have taken control, and Roma still trying to get anybody from that little vantage point. Not able to get a kill, has to force to go around, but it looks like Noah cleaned up on that kill. Cash is going to run out as they go for one more steal, but I think that the Aimers Red are in control. There it goes. They have the cash, but the fighting is still going on.
This is a strange one. This feels like almost a significant dip in the quality of gameplay. I want to say, like, it feels like both teams... It doesn't feel like teams won those fights. It felt like teams lost those fights. You know what I mean? Like, so I think, yeah, maybe just a little bit of a stumble from both sides. Of course, for Aimers Blue, much more costly one, as that first cash out goes the way of Aimers Red. And we head on to that second cash out now and see if either team can kind of lock it in here, because yeah, it's a strange vibe I'm getting off this map so far.
Yeah, it really is. It just doesn't feel like either team is playing to their max. This hasn't been the combat that I've seen previously, so it's a little sloppy, but hey, it's only been one cash out. I'm sure that they'll find what they're looking for. But Vault has been tapped by Aimers Red. I think that they want to try and bring that over to A, kind of in this parking lot area. It's a good place to be, but there's a lock bolt that goes off immediately. Aimers Blue, one of them locked in there. Telco getting a nice kill there, running around trying to find his next victim, but the Aimers Red have all three of them up. Perzone very low, but they're going to take the Vault, I think, as they look for their last light member. He's very low, but can they find him? No, he got away somehow, and I think that they want to take the fight away from this battle, but they're still trying to get him. But there is the Vault. It's going to get plugged into A, and I think that Aimers Blue are going to reset and go for this push.
Yeah, some critical whiffs there from a Telco, but we can forgive him because, of course, Roma still has to sit back. And really, you know, given how recent those deaths were for Aimers Blue, it would have been a fairly equivalent timer against the wipe. You know, so the coins come in. Of course, they have to spend them. That is a cost. But usually in these games, you don't run out of coins unless you're really loose with them. In goes the engage from Aimers Red. They are fighting very early here, way away from the point. They want to get this wipe done very quickly. Atelco in a decent position this time to try and protect his teammate, but unfortunately, he doesn't find the shots. Roma cleans up with 2, and now there's only 1 player left on both sides. It's Roma versus Rubinski. The lights having at it at each other's throats at the moment. Roma trying to bait opportunity to try and go for a steal. He's chasing him. He hears him, and for some reason, Rubinski, he's running away. He's playing time. Of course, this is his cash out. He's allowed to do that. The prerogative right now is for Roma to try and be the aggressor. He finally gets a position where he can get those reses, and Rubinski will be very happy with his play. He's managed to buy his team enough time to just recover. That wipe barely mattered. It wasn't even a wipe even.
Yep, and we're going to see potentially the last push. Can Aimers Blue get something going here on this map? They need to make something happen because this cash out is slowly ticking down. Cash is in control of Aimers Red. He spots somebody out. Roma is cornering one of their heavy members. This is a good spot to be in, but sadly he's getting returned fire and having to dip out of that fight.
Steal.
He throws
We
down.
need to get an eye on this steal.
Steal is going off. What is going on? Are they able to get it? I think they're holding it. Do Aimers Blue get it? No,
That's
Aimers
it.
Red have to pull off of it, and I don't think that they have another opportunity. This would be it. Roma would have to dive on there and do something, but sadly there is no time. No way that one man can make something happen, as they've all kind of standing around, and that's it. Aimers Red taking it. They took it.
Aimers Red win the championship, or win the EU playoffs. Congratulations to them. It was such a quick final map, almost anticlimactic, but they really came out swinging there. That turnaround on Sis Horizon, the last minute switch, really just seemed to give them the gusto, and wow, unbelievable. The top seeded team from the group stage just about managed to make it work. Aimers Blue had such a good run through this playoff bracket. But that is that. Aimers Red with a 3-1 victory.
Okay, well, we have our top team on the EU, and we knew it was going to be an Aimers, but it turns out it's Aimers Red. I was so confident that Aimers Blue were going to be able to at least get one more map under us. I don't know what happened there. It just seems, I think you're right, that last second steal on Sis Horizon in that last map just turned the tide. And it is kind of a bit of a, ego battle in yourself. Like, you want to stay confident. You want to stay, really engaged in it. And sometimes a defeat like that kind of gets to you. But those are our thoughts. Waltz, what did you think about the series that we just witnessed?
I was really impressed by how Aimers held the proper checkpoints. Like, so much of the way that Aimers Blue were playing was built around Rame as that heavy, and making sure that he provides the space, because there is no weapon that can outdamage a sledge in close combat. It's just not possible. And so what we saw, especially that last cash out, that fight that you were casting, Jerry, that kind of ended up in not even a wipe. It was just 2 lights trying to find each other, trying to go for a wipe, and neither of them found each other. And that was so crucial, because if they had been able to cross without being, hindered at all, they might have had more time. They could have winched the cash out into a place that they wanted. They could have done what they needed to, had more time to set up on it. But instead, the lockbolt caught Rame as he was crossing no man's land. That's a sledge in the middle of nowhere. He got beamed down. The entire fight started falling apart. So knowing that they have the range advantage, because the because the heavy is running a weapon that can't do anything at range, I think gave Aimers Red sort of they understood how to manage the flow of the map because they knew what points they had to hold, and that changes your sort of mental calculus completely. If you can hold a point because you have 3 ranged weapons and the other members have 2, that changes the dynamic completely.
Yeah, it was a wild final fight as well. Like just following on from that, they really didn't get a handle on it after that point. It was such a smart idea, like you say, to try and engage them in the open. It was a really early fight, you know. That cash out was miles behind them, but they just knew that they had to take it in the open. They had to leverage their range, and it worked perfectly, like you said, Walt. So yeah, really learning, really feeling out their opposition during the course of that. And Reimka, who has been a steadfast sledge main for this entire tournament and this entire bracket, most of the series, most of the season as well. He got figured out a little bit there. So yeah, but it just goes to show how pivotal a sledge can be to the entire play style. And I'm so excited. I'm so glad that we've seen the emergence of Sledge Heavy over the course of this season, and that it really has had a major impact in the meta to the point that it is, you know, top 2 essentially. We've seen it, like, it is top 2. There's a minigun and then there's a sledge, and this was perfectly represented in the fact that Amos Red won this with a minigun. And Amos Blue came second with the sledge.
Minigun still took it down, right? Like, I've seen so many people, it's like, oh, well, sledge is the end all be all, but like clearly it's manageable, right? And I think that speaks to a very solid meta, at least in terms of heavy right now. We're not seeing SA12s all day every day. We saw a lot more of them than we saw in the group stage, though. Rio, why do you think that is?
I don't know. I think it could just be the change up in the mode. I think that, you know, things are changed and people evaluate what they're bringing into a 3v3 versus kind of a, you know, 4-team jumble. So that could be it. But yeah, I don't know. I definitely enjoy seeing kind of a mix of everything. But I'm guessing that we've switched over, and this is the placements for today. This is where the final score. I mean, do we have these final scores? I assume.
Yeah,
Production.
it would seem so. It looks like most of those numbers have been added up, and Gangala, who were in a scary position after being like essentially first rounded today, dropping out of that upper bracket and then immediately losing in their best of 1, gaining no points from this bracket at all, just about survive. Crutches didn't get far enough in the bracket overall. If they got I think 1 stage further, it may have caused Gangala to drop down, but again, there's so many numbers at play here. Maybe Burnt Nuggets wouldn't have reached that far either. We just don't know. I'm sure we'll go back and kind of reverse engineer the numbers, and after this we'll have an idea. But yeah, it was so tight. So the top 6 are the teams that will make it through to championship playoffs, which is a mix of NA and EU. And that's very exciting, isn't it, Waz?
It's very, very exciting. Something I think is really cool too is the camaraderie between these 2 teams. Something I can see on the back end is the entire teams of Aimers Blue and Aimers Red. They jumped into a voice call together. They're chatting. They're probably breaking it down in the aftermath. It's exciting to see that they clearly enjoy playing against each other, and you know, there's definitely some camaraderie there. So that's exciting to see. Of course, hopefully maybe we can get an interview. We'll see. I'm definitely, if we don't get him in now, we're definitely going to be talking to him in the future as we get towards our champions bracket, which is what we're looking at right now. So if you're watching right now and you're like, is this it? Are the games over? There are still more games. The games are going to be NA, and they're going to be happening in just 2 hours and 20 minutes. So make sure you're sticking around and make sure you are tuning in for those, because the top 6 teams that we just saw are going to face off against the top 6 NA teams next weekend. And that's the bracket we were just looking at, which is going to be our inter-regional playoffs. This was just one region. We still have 12 NA teams that we're going to have to run through, and then they're going to take on these teams that we just saw dominate the lobbies. It's going to be a showdown next week, and I'm really excited for that.
Yeah, next week is when it's all gonna come together. I'm excited to see just the clash of NA and EU. And if you want to kind of know a little bit more about why we're so excited, Waltz and I kind of broke it down on a recent episode of The Vault, which we should be pushing out later today. But we kind of broke down the EU side and the NA side. And like I said, it's going to be just insane to see them clash because they do have different play styles. But yeah, I think that's what we have for today. Do we have any final thoughts from Waltz and Jerry before we wrap up on the EU side?
Let you go for it, Jerry.
Wow. I mean, it's been such a wild day. from back to front. And yeah, I couldn't have asked for a better pair of folks to join me. It's been really, really fun casting alongside you, Rio, again. Waltz, we got to get on the mic at some point. I swear, somehow me and you have never crossed paths on the mic for the casting stuff. So yeah, we'll do it at some point. It's in our to-do list for certain. We know this. But yeah, I just want to congratulate Amos Red again, because I think that was a really stellar performance. They turned it round. We thought that they weren't here today. We thought that they'd maybe not shown up as their best self. But you got to shout out Rubinski as well. Like a sub coming in and winning the EU playoffs, like that is
talented.
massive. Absolutely incredible talent in the scene. And he had very big shoes to fill. So we got to respect that. Etelko and Perzon as well, just been absolutely stellar throughout. So yeah, just
Agreed.
That's all I want to say about them. Amos Red, incredible. I'll leave the thank yous and things up to you, Watts, because you will remember, and I'm going to forget names and things. That's my problem when I do these things. So, Watts, over to you.
Oh yeah, no, I do. I think we're gonna see these teams. As we saw earlier, our final teams. The Amers Red, Amers Blue, Saints 1, Gamblers, Burnt Nuggets, and Gongala are all the teams that are gonna be moving on. You're gonna see them next week, but I want to give a shout out as well to the teams that will not be moving on with us. The teams that we have to say goodbye. If we had it prepared, I'd play some very sad music right now, because we've seen a lot of these teams. We've played 194 matches, I think, of cash out over the last month and a half. We've played so many games. We've gotten to know a lot of these players. So huge shout out to Resit for showing up, just putting on a show, doing everything they could every day. Godlike Gamers and Zesties continuing to just really throw their hearts onto the lines. Players like Ozapontu and Airshoe, Velo, another Sledge player. NTHX, of course, classic goats, unable to fully make it through. Divine Dead with players like Alone in Paris and Oli, again, continuing to really kind of shine. And then, of course, Crutches, who had an amazing lower bracket run in this playoff and came so close to qualifying to the championship, but just missed out on it. Overall, we've just had some incredible teams. I'm really excited for the next season, because I think there's a lot that we can look forward to. I think there's a lot that's going to be really exciting to watch. But like you said, that's it for us right now. We do have our winner, but we're going to be back in just a couple hours with the NA side of things. So make sure you're tuning in for that. But thank you, everyone, for watching. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for everyone who is playing. And thank you to our production on the backside. That's going to be it for us today. We'll see you soon.
I was a young kid trying to get noticed. Big underdog psychosis, but I've been blessed with a vision and focus. Back then I never been so hopeless, but I kept living with the faith in process. So ill yet no diagnosis. Thank God I had to make that progress. It's all about mindset. Bells ring when I see that drifting. Been around and back to the point that I knew that it needed shifting. Cut off the man that would drag me down till I'm feeling lifted. Like ditch him. You would never see me switching. I can't what you say behind my back, 'cause you know I can't waste my energy on people that I don't see. You never could do anything that ever faced me. I like to hold the curse 'cause I don't need it. Yeah, see up in that dream, I'm setting that pace like I'm doing up FIFA. Innovating the scene with an ether, lift up the team like follow the leader. How many times did I compromise to make deals on the side 'cause I got too eager? That's broke boy trying to get a feature, now I get paid for the rhythm, it's leisure. Used to be so low, reminisce way back when I was alone. Got pain from my mind a decade ago, this way that I rode was out of control. Can't tell a boy stick to the code if he got built living inside of his soul. Man, I have to pray to God to let it all go. We've been here before, if you know then you know. I can't what you say behind my back, 'cause you know I can't waste my energy on people that I don't see. You never could do anything that ever faced me.